Hello.
Hi, Lou. You have all your hairs cut.
Yes, all my hair is cut. Yeah.
All of them.
Yep.
They look good.
Well, thank you.
So
It was time.
it was time. Well, I haven't seen you in person in a couple weeks,
That's right.
but it was time.
It was time.
It looks good.
Yeah.
You look younger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, hard to look older.
So how are you?
I'm all right.
How was your weekend?
The weekend?
You're like,
Snowstorm?
oh, I wasn't here.
That was brutal.
Oh, there
Lost
was another
water for 2
snowstorm
days.
over the weekend.
Sunday, didn't we have a snowstorm?
I
Sunday?
wasn't
Or am I in the wrong week?
That was the wrong week.
Okay.
I'm like,
That's
wait,
how it's
what?
going.
I'm like, no.
See, that's how it's going.
I think it was just cold here over the weekend.
All right.
Remember, and I was away.
What day is it?
Today's Wednesday. Okay, where I was, just thanks for asking, where I was really, really cold. There was one day where it was colder where I was than it was here.
Yeah?
I'll say now. I was down in Universal Studios, and the Universal ball that rotates.
Yes.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
I have a picture of it with icicles all under the bottom of it. It was so cold there.
It's colder than here?
At one moment, it was colder there. It never went, the whole time I was there, it never went above 50.
Wow.
But it really was like 47. And then at night, it was like 8. It was bad.
Yeah. It's
It
been
was
bad
snow.
here. I'm in that February mode.
Florida, I've never been to Florida when it's been that cold. And I go in January a lot.
No, I've never been that cold.
Well, it was cold. There was snow all over Florida. It was
Snow in Florida.
That's where I was.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It was freezing.
Never seen that.
It was freezing. And I went out to Cocoa Beach because I went to the East Coast from there.
Yep.
Because I went to the Wizard of Oz Museum, just saying.
Oh boy. Okay.
It was wonderful. I went down there for that. And I was dressed in earmuffs, gloves, scarf.
Good for them. Fine by me.
I had my winter jacket. I had 2 sweatshirts on. And you normally can eat in this awesome, fun restaurant that's like right on the beach in Cocoa. Yeah, it was like, I'm eating inside. Thank you. I've never eaten inside that restaurant in 25 years, and I ate inside. It was quite something. It was so cold. So Florida's a little cold, and I'm hoping in a month or so from now when I am there again, it's not going to be that cold because, oh my.
Yeah.
It was really cold. And I was there in December, and it was cold.
I'd like to say I have sympathy for them, but I don't.
I know, because they get warmth, but it's seriously, it was bad. I mean, but I did see people walking around Universal Studios at night on the walk, the city walk where they have all the stores in like high heels and skirts and, because they have all the clubs and stuff. And I'm thinking, ladies.
While it was snowing 2 feet up here, my Orlando buddy was giving me 70-degree weather all the time.
But that was the week before, and there was no 70-degree weather down there either.
He was just poking me.
Oh, yeah. I was like, well, it might have been 70 for like a hot second. When I arrived the other day, it was approaching 70, but that quickly went away, and that was the end of that. But today it's supposed to be 70 there.
Nice.
I'm not there.
Good for them.
I know, right? So, but it was a lovely weekend, and it was a good refresh, and it was wonderful to have fun and see the things, even though it was freezing. So I didn't get to I wouldn't say I fully enjoyed my Universal experience the way I would normally, because I really didn't want to be out walking around in it because it was really cold. And the lines weren't long because you know why? There was no one there.
Because it was cold.
It was cold. So here we are, and I was just in our lovely producer downstairs I'm talking about. She came out and told me to be careful because the entire parking lot here at our studio is an ice rink.
Yep.
So that's fun. So yay, back to New England.
Snow removal is a problem. It was a big storm.
I know. And then it melted yesterday, and then it snapped back, and it's all frozen again.
Yep.
So anyway, here we are. So exciting news. Super Bowl's this weekend.
Only 2 months to go in the winter.
But we're talking now about, so Super Bowl's this weekend.
Yes.
And you know what that means?
That means you have your Super Bowl squares.
That means my Super Bowl squares are coming, right?
That means I got to pull up your link.
And you got to pull up my link. But I only have 2 squares left.
Oh, okay.
So, but I still have to make another like $3,000 on top of that. So regardless of that, if you give to the squares, of course, you're entered for the Super Bowl squares. But that's the $100. But if you give anyway, and you keep giving until I hit that extra $3,000, you get entered into all my giveaways, and you also get entered into the giveaways for the Patriots, that they give away stuff to all of my donors. So please help me out, because I just have those final ones and I'm down to those, and hopefully they'll go in the next couple days, maybe by tonight. And then I just need the extra $3,000. So, but I mean, I always do like a gala and stuff.
But you're mostly there.
Yeah, mostly there. But I just, had to make sure I hit this milestone first. So, but yeah, thank you for everybody that's been helping and been fabulous and doing all the things. So thank you so much. And I'm hoping that the Patriots do a great job, and Drake May is doing well with his shoulder. So we've got no shoulder issue going on, supposedly.
Well,
so there's that.
Like you say that like you know something.
I'm just saying. No,
Okay.
no.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna shut up. So let's talk about Rise. Are you rising? Are you doing your month of Rise? Are you
Not
doing
lately.
Your Rise.
It's been tough.
It has?
Storm was tough. It's been cold as hell for 3 months now.
I know, but you got to reset your mindset.
I live
You
in
gotta integrate it
Massachusetts. I
in.
just got my new electric bill, so
Oh, gosh.
you know how that goes.
But we're rising. We have to rise above and beyond those things.
I'm trying.
Right?
Yep.
I'm trying.
Did
you just say you just got your new electric bill?
Yep.
Oh, good. Great, right? Okay, well, we're not going to, I can't help you with your electric bill.
I know.
But I can help you.
You live in Massachusetts. It's tough here.
It is. Well, I had a $900 electric bill.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. And a gas bill.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I get it. I'm cringing to see the next one that comes in.
It's a tough state.
It's probably today.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're going to rise, Lou.
Yep.
We're resetting our mindset, just in case people aren't fully aware in January. Rise. Reset the mindset, integrate our new stuff or our new mindset or our perspective shift. We have to stand up or stand out in some way every single day on a microscopic level, so that we make a difference in our own lives and rise for ourselves. And then we elevate and evolve, right? So we're elevating and we're evolving ourselves constantly. Doesn't mean it's every second, but it means that we're trying to grow. Okay. So one of the things that's come up already in this month, in the first month of January into February, was, okay, the rise concept is like taken off. It's fire, it's great. And then people like, but what do I do when I can't get people to grow with me, or that I'm outgrowing? Because a lot of people have found that in the year of them, and then also when they're doing the rise practice, that they might be outgrowing their friends or partners or other people. And so that's a good question, but it's also really hard to get people to grow emotionally with you, and also not pulling them with you, which is what a lot of people end up doing, is just pulling people forward. And if you have to pull someone, that means that they're not going to change,
right.
And you can't change other people. The only thing you can do is change yourself. And if they change with you, great. If they don't, well, things happen. And
this whole exercise is about doing what you can do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And what's about taking charge of the wheel. It's about driving your own car, your own truck, your own train, whichever one you want to say you're doing. And it's being able to just take responsibility for all your things to make yourself happy. And if people want to join you and be a complement to that and do that for their lives too, it works beautifully. And when it works really great. But there's oftentimes, the crabs in the bucket that don't want you to grow. Right. They won't say it, but they definitely have the behaviors as such that make it so that they're not like growth minded necessarily, because it's scary. It's not because people are mean necessarily, or that they're, bad or jerks or something. It's that change is fear based, and people don't like change. It's the hardest thing for people to do. Look at people with eating habits that are not good. Look at people with financial habits that are not good. Look at people that have addictions that are, unhealthy, and asking someone to change. No one wakes up and says, I want to be poor. So they gamble to death, or no one wakes up and says, I want to be a heroin addict. No one wakes up and says, I want to be unhealthy with a heart condition, diabetes, and eat bad. But they do it. And why do they not change? Because change is hard, right? and they're habituated into those habits that I've talked about.
It's also tough sometimes because when they see you start to rise, they feel like you're lacking empathy for them. You're kind of leaving them.
Exactly.
Right?
It feels like an abandonment and
Right.
attachment issue, because psychologically there's a lot there, because you could actually leave them. You could. And people do, because if you get to a point where you've risen so much and that person can't be pulled with you, because they don't, right? And they don't really want to change, and they say, I'm not going to change. There's only certain options that are left. And so, and if you are rising and then you regress back into falling into, being guilted by them, or feeling like you have to take responsibility for them to take care of them because they haven't risen with you, then your rise is going to fall apart, obviously, right? So helping people grow with you emotionally isn't about pulling them forward. It's about creating like a condition and an environment for where the growth that you're doing is feeling safe, mutual, and worthwhile together. So if you want to maintain like a relationship or a friendship, or we're talking, or a professional relationship, right? You're trying to have a partnership that works well in all of those venues, so that it's safe, mutual, and worthwhile. And if people see a purpose in it, then they're more likely to go forward with it. People, it's like you have two people in a household that are trying to diet, right? One person's doing all these things and the other person's just like eating like whatever they want. That's really hard because that becomes an emotionally unsafe, non-mutual, non-worthwhile place.
Right.
So you're always fighting against, it's easier to fall into the habit of being an unhealthy eater than it is to go the other way. If you're in a household where there's like, it's easier to, if you have someone who's, drinking, and the other, they both drink together, and then all of a sudden one person cuts way back, and then the other person keeps doing, and then that behavior starts to annoy the other person. That's a hard thing, because the growth isn't in the same trajectory. So it makes it really difficult.
Well, when someone sees you taking responsibility for your outcomes,
right,
they feel that it's on them to take responsibility for their outcomes, and people are very reluctant to do that.
Right.
That's the big problem.
Right. Exactly. Very reluctant. And that's being kind.
Yeah. Because they're victims.
Exactly. Well, it's the victim
mentality. No
mentality.
control.
This all comes back to that. I'm, the pity party, the victim mentality, that mindset that's just all closed. So, all right. So this goes along with how I did the last 2 weeks of the show of like the plan of doing like the things in the plan. This is kind of an interject in the plan of like how to like keep growing around people that are growing or not growing with you. So the first thing, so I put together like a point list. Hopefully I'll get to all of them. I'm not sure if I will today, but so the first thing is,
can you just pull your mic a little closer?
Oh, I can. Why am I not being heard?
No, it's fine. No, you're being heard.
Oh, I just have to be heard.
It just got to me. My OCD.
Oh, is it fine for you now?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. So we're going to model the level of maturity that you're asking for. So that's an important one. So I have a few clients in mind that have talked to me about this, and a few people in my life and like in like their personal conditions, right, that are needing this. So it's modeling the level of emotional maturity that you're asking for. You have to model what you want, right? So it's like the vibe in the tribe, right? You want the tribe, but you got to have the vibe and you got to pull for it, right?
Oh, that's parenting 101.
Exactly. The modeling. Yep. So, and people don't think that, even if you're around adults that you've lived with for 20 years or 30 years or whatever, that modeling is going to impact, but it really does. So people rarely grow because they're told to. They grow because they observe a consistent pattern of behaviors that they then emulate, that they either like or that they just get used to, so then they fall into it. So it's a really important concept there is people rarely will grow because they're told to, or even when they want to, they won't necessarily do it because it's hard, right? So they grow because they observe another person doing it, which is why I say you can do family therapy, you can do couples therapy with one person in the room and not having everybody in the room. Because if you get that one person to model their own behavior that's healthy for themselves, eventually what people do is they do one of three things. They either grow with you, they stay the same, or they go backwards. The growing with you is not as often. The staying the same is more often, and the regressing is lots because people do that, right? So those are the three things that happen. But when you model the consistent observed behavior that you want for yourself, people will likely jump in on that and do that with you in some fashion. It might be much slower, but they're more likely to accommodate around you and or join you. If they don't, they'll just stay the same. You'll have the same, or you'll get tons of the time. You'll get the regression, which is they'll pull at your heels at things. They'll make it really hard for you to move forward. They'll make it, it makes the environment really difficult to live in, because they just don't want you to be, regulated. They don't want you to be in that mode because it's dysregulating for them. Right. So what comes with modeling the level of emotional maturity? Okay. So, regulate before you communicate, which is, these are all such hard things. I've already had this conversation with a couple people, last week. And okay, regulate before you communicate. Sometimes you come in like hot, right?
Yep.
So you got to try to regulate before you communicate. Name the feeling without acting on it. Like, that makes me angry. That makes me sad. That makes me confused. That makes me, and not you, like it, that's hurtful. I can tell you that I have people I know in my life that I can say those things to, and it won't change them at all. So it doesn't always work, but it's not about that. It's about being able to model your own maturity. Like, that hurts me. That's not feeling good. That doesn't feel right. But name it before you jump on it and act on it, right? Which is hard. Take responsibility without being defensive or self-shaming, right? Getting, how people jump on the whole like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm an asshole, or oh yeah, instead just take accountability for, oh yeah, I didn't mean to hurt you, or be mature, be very mature. I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean, there's so many things in this, like, about how to model a good maturity level. It's hard though. And apologize cleanly. Don't be an over apologizer. There's people that do, like, I'm sorry for everything. I'm talking about, like, if you really,
it cheapens it.
Right. It ends up meaning nothing. Right. Apologies. First of all, apologies are words over and over again, and without change, they are nothing. And I can't tell you how many people I know that apologize without any meaning because there's no change behavior, and they keep doing that over and over and over again. I mean,
the best apology is a change in behavior.
Right. Well, and you see this in addiction work a lot. Like, I'm sorry. But then they go and do this, the person goes and does the thing again, whatever it is. Right. It's like, it's, and you see this if you go back to any of my narcissism shows, narcissists are notorious for, I'm sorry. It's just to gaslight you, to get you to stop. It's a tactic. It's a coping strategy to get you to stop talking, to get you to stop doing whatever it is they don't want you to deal. Right. They don't want to deal with. And then they just go back to the same behavior. Right. So it's like, okay, so apologize cleanly, which means you have impact, you have ownership when you do it, and you have no qualifiers. It's there to repair. So no qualifiers. Now that's what you're modeling. That I put those in because when we talk about people growing with you, you really need to have regulation of communication. You really need to be able to have responsibility taking for, like, I'm doing this. If you want to do it with me, or you want to be like that with me, great. And then, apologies. I think apologies come in there because when people are like, well, I don't want to do that. You're hurting my feelings because you're going to go, do something like that's for you. I'm sorry that hurts your feelings. I really am. You're more than welcome to come with me. Like, it's not, I'm sorry, then fall on a sword and then fall apart and then, make all these qualifiers, but you don't like to do that. Or it's like, you have to be able to be clean and clear about it.
Yep.
So, why this works. Okay. When I give you, like, the modeling of emotional maturity, is emotional safety tends to be contagious. If you're emotionally safe, your nervous system will dampen down and become calm, and you'll become very clear in your space. And then the more clear you are, the more clear other people are, then the more connected you are. This is all, that whole piece is about, if you're emotionally mature and you can model that level that you were expecting and that you're doing yourself, then you're going to get a clean and clear environment for emotional safety, and that will help you grow and rise. because then you're able to stay in some kind of balance. And then the people around you will balance out around you, hopefully.
Yep.
A lot of times people will not be able to emotionally, and I say this because this is like very common. A lot of times people won't be able to emotionally balance out around you. And so what they'll do is the way of emotionally balancing out around you is they'll say, I have to get away from you.
Yeah.
That's how, right? Because your presence and your candor, right? You're going to be candid. You're going to have straightforward talk, right? No, nothing that's not clean. It's very clean. So some people call it blunt. I call it clean. Be clean with your words. Like, be non evasive. People will be like, oh, I just can't be around you. Okay. And that's what your answer is. Okay.
Yep.
Bye. Go away from me. And don't keep coming back though. Like, that's the thing. Don't keep coming back.
Yep.
Like, if you say you're going to go away, go away.
Yeah.
Don't be around you if they're not going to jump in and lean into to emotional regulation. So that's the first one.
That's not the response they want.
Right. Because, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
When a person doesn't get the response they want, they try to spin you up. And then it's very difficult especially in relationships. And it's mostly in relationships, not as much in workplace. I did some like thoughts about workplace because one of the people was asking me about their workplace, because it's a little different, because the dynamic, there's a power differential there. It's very different, but mostly in relationships, people, one person, at least in a relationship that doesn't want to grow, usually has some kind of coping strategy that's very maneuvering to try to get you to not say the things that they don't want to hear or do the things that they don't want. So they'll move you in a different way. So that can be very emotionally dysregulating, as you know.
Yes. Yes. We've all been there.
Yes, exactly. So, and so you want to be able to try to, that goes back to that first point of communicate cleanly and communicate with regulated self before you communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can't always do that because it's like so heated in the moment. But okay. So then the next thing is how to so we're talking about rising and getting people to grow with you. Okay. Replace pressure with permission. Okay. Replace pressure with permission. And what that means is growth tends to shut down under force.
Right.
Like, I can't get people out of addiction because I tell them to stop. That's why when people say, just stop drinking, just stop drugging, just stop gambling, like you can't get someone to grow or to rise under force. You have to do it with like a sense of acceptance and permission. That's why I say replace pressure, that forced pressure, with permission. That's why when people come in and say, if you don't do this, I'm going to do that. I'm like, oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen,
More about empowering them.
Well, that's the thing, is empowering, right?
Yeah.
So when someone says, you need to communicate better, you need to open up more. Why can't you talk about this, right? That's the pressure. That's like the full court pressure. That's not going to get a person to feel emotionally safe, which is important to be able to tell you or to share with you. But it's very hard, especially when a person's not like this and is much more blunt or forward. But like things like trying, like, I'm open to whenever you want to tell me and you're ready to tell me, let me know. Like that. Or we don't have to solve anything. We just need to understand. Right. And so it's less threatening. I just want to understand it. We don't need to necessarily solve it. But people often are in the outcome. So this goes back to last week, right?
Right.
Outcome. Don't worry about the outcome. Let's just do the journey. As cliche as you might think that is, it's really going to save you. So it's not pressure. It's more about like, okay, I just want to understand. I'm thinking of some cases and some people that are like, when you even say that, it's still like a thing of like, they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to talk about it. Right. They put up, the whole thing. But the key principle in like replacing pressure with permission is people around you will grow faster when they don't feel that they're being evaluated under your rubric of how your expectation for you is.
Yes.
When they feel like they can, be on their own and on their own volition, and that you're not there to, you're doing you. But that also takes a sense of maturity in that other person to be able to not because some people walk around feeling evaluated all the time, no
Yep.
matter what you're doing with them. And so there's where the growth. So I address that like that because so many people don't grow and then say, but they're not doing anything different. It's because they feel evaluated. They feel judged. They're judging themselves. They're, you know, being on the hot seat, and then you might add into it by adding comments.
Yeah, you have to understand your part in that,
Right.
in them feeling evaluated, because
Right.
sometimes approach is everything.
Approach is
Yeah.
everything. And so if you approach someone and you're talking to them in a tone
Yeah.
right out of the gate, which there are plenty of people that do that, right? I mean, I'm sure that you know people that do that. It's very difficult to regulate, to communicate on the other side of that. Like I have clients that come in and they have tone sometimes, and I'm in my office, I'm always in the regulated, communicated position, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like that's the zone. In my personal life, sometimes I have a couple of people that come in hot like that all the time, and I'm always like, "Tone, your tone," and they're like, "No, I said it the right way first." Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
But by the time that we're on the second or third one, it starts to dysregulate me. So I share that as like, because it dysregulates you, because then you end up going into this thing of you try to help them get regulated into the fact to see that they're doing the dysregulated or the very nasty tone. It's like, it's not the thing you said,
Because
it's how you said it.
The tricky part of this is there's no right or wrong answer. It's about
Right.
how you deal. It's about the other person's personality and how you deal with them, what your relationship's like.
Exactly.
It's not all the same. Not the same approach for every person in every situation.
Exactly. And that's such a good point, because these are like all of these things might not be able to be used with certain people. You have to be able to pick and choose. You have to be able to tailor it. You have to try it out. It's trial and error a little bit and getting to know yourself better. That's why the whole month of January on the Rise for yourself is really get to know yourself better, so you can do it for you before you can start pulling someone along. So I'm sort of ahead of the game in this show a little bit by putting out there like how to get other people to come with you, because we still are rising. But this has come up because people are like, how do I get people to come with me? Because I've had so many people listen to last year's whole series of like, Year of You, that now they're in the rise moment.
Yep.
So they're excited, they're flourishing, they're doing these other things, and they've really made changes in all these places. And now they're like, but wait, how do I get this person to come with me?
Well, one of the things we've talked about in the past is you're constantly training other people how to treat you.
Right.
That's something you have to be conscious of.
Mm-hmm.
Reward the approaches that you want.
Right.
Don't reward the approaches that you don't want. That's a basic start.
Right. And that's such an important piece, is reward what you want and don't what you don't. Right. I mean, so important. And it's hard. This is one of the hardest relational stuff like this is so hard for people across the board.
Yep.
Because we're so used to it. We're reactive. So by nature.
Yes, we are.
Right.
I know I am.
Well, people are by nature. We get socialized into it. When we're young, we're not like that. But as we get socialized more and more, it's like, because you have to be fight and flight all the time. And that's what our culture has become.
It's about safety.
Yes.
About where you are in a relationship. If you feel safe with somebody, I have people who can come up to me and tell me things, and they're fine. And it's not going to hurt me, and it's not going to bother me. It's not going to dysregulate me.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, thanks.
Right.
Because I'm safe with them. I know I'm safe with them. But other people who I don't feel safe with just can really, turn me up.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And and I think that's such an important piece, is when people do not feel safe emotionally safe with someone,
Yep.
They're emotionally dysregulated. Their fuse is going to be quick.
Yep.
And that's just I think that's a really good point. Like if you're a person that emotionally regulates in with some people really well, like you just said, and the other people you're like right there.
Yep.
That's a cue for you to know that person. And what do you do with it afterwards? Well, it depends. Are they a friend? Can you walk away from them? Are they in your marriage? Can you walk away from them? Like there's different ways of dealing with different people, but it's like, yeah, emotional safety is,
everybody in my life can call me an idiot, but there's some people who it's like, oh, thanks.
Because
I know I'm good
it
with
doesn't
them.
really mean anything.
No, I'm good with them.
Right. Exactly.
I screwed up, but I'm good with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nice point.
I
Thanks,
screw
Lou.
up. What?
I said that's a nice point. Thanks, Lou. That's good. Okay. The next point that I want to move to is that speak from and in experience, not inexperience, but in experience and not in accusation. So do it in the experience,
Yeah.
right? Don't do it out of what was, or accusing out of assumption and presumption. So use very self-referencing emotional language. So that means stick to you, I. And it's not just the I statement that you read in the pop psychology books, right? It's about, like, when X happens, this is what it does to me. So when you leave the socks on the floor, I love that one. When you leave the socks on the floor, this is what it does to me.
Yeah.
It aggravates me. You know, that's not an accusation. It's when the socks are on the floor, when X happens, when the socks are on the floor, I get stressed. That's the non-accusation. When I'm trying to think of like a good example that someone's given me.
When you leave the dishes in the sink.
I was just going to say, when you leave the cabinet doors open and I hit my head, it's very upsetting to me.
Yeah.
Well, you're not accusing, but you're saying. Now I know people that you could say that to till the cows come home and it still doesn't change anything, but it's still about staying out of the accusation mode and staying in like experience. Yeah. When X happens, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it can't be when X happens, you.
Good example, because I'm a cabinet leaver open.
Yes.
I do it. I don't do it maliciously.
Yes.
But when the emphasis is put on it, like that annoys me or that's a problem, or sometimes I hit my head, it's like I try to be more, that approach makes me feel more thoughtful about it. I try to be more thoughtful about it.
Right.
As opposed to, you idiot, don't leave the cabinet doors open.
Right. Yeah. Well, right. And if you say that right out of the gate, right? But and I know people that you could say all the right things 2 or 3 times, and then by the 5th time you're saying, you idiot, right? Because exactly, it's right, because the person still doesn't listen. And that's, it's like, shut the lid on the toilet, pick up the clothes, shut the drawers, put the cabinet doors shut. Like, there's people that have this constantly, and it's someone asked me yesterday, how do I get someone who continually does these patterns to stop? I'm like, you don't. You just keep repeating. And they're like, that's not fair. I'm like, I understand that it is not fair.
Yeah.
It is not fair. And you have to assess whether or not, because they're on high alert all the time. They have to watch their head for hitting it. Like, I use that as the example because it's true. They have to watch their head, their leg for hitting the drawer that's left open. They have kids and partners that both say things to them like, well, I have ADD. And that's the blame of why they do the things they do. So it makes it okay.
It's out of my control.
It's out of my control.
People love to put it out of their control.
You have every control to shut the drawer you just opened. You have every control to shut the cabinet. You have every control to not put your dishes, leave them in the sink and put them into the dishwasher. Right? I mean, choices. Those are choices. I
only do upper cabinets, by the way.
The what?
I only do upper cabinets. I don't leave drawers open.
Oh, that's good. You leave the upper cabinets open?
Yes.
I come downstairs sometimes in the morning and every single top cabinet is open. Every single one.
Not every. No, I'm not.
Oh, all of them. All of them. So actually, I feel the feels for this.
Actually, at one point I did it with my kids and apologized to them because I used to get on them for leaving the cabinet doors open. I started to realize it might have been me.
That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah. So when you're speaking in experience, right, the in experience moment, also things like, I notice I feel tense when this happens. I notice I feel, right? So you're using I notice.
I love the I feel wording because it separates you from your emotion. It gets you back to that observer position.
Right.
And it's like, I feel mad. I'm not mad. I feel mad.
I feel mad. Right. Yeah. And then it's also not about the other person. I notice I feel anxious. I notice I feel stressed. Yeah. I notice I feel sad, whatever it is. And that's all you're saying. And then a big one, when you want to have someone help you, if they're on the roller coaster with you, is when you say things like, what helps me is fill in the blank. What helps me is
when you close the cabinets.
When you close the cabinets.
Yeah.
When you shut the drawer. Yeah. When you don't leave. I have a little thief. I have a cat thief. She likes to take everything, right?
Yeah.
And in my house, things get left out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little things that can be swallowed, like nuts and bolts and screws, and like when people are doing projects and right, pencils, pens. Razors, razor blades.
Oh boy, yeah.
Right? So it's What helps me is if you could put that away because she's going to pick it up.
Yep.
It doesn't mean it works, but it's just an example. It's just an example. So when conversations stop abruptly, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is one thing you could say to someone. When conversations stop abruptly, like sometimes people have fights, right? And they just abruptly stop, or they're conversing. I end up feeling disconnected. And so what helps me is knowing we'll come back to it and try to resolve it. That's a great way to utilize that whole thing I just gave you.
Yep.
So when conversations end abruptly and you just walk away, I feel disconnected. And when that happens, what helps me is knowing that we're going to come back to it and that you care to help me.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes I've said to people, say, help me. I need you to help me. People are much more likely to want to help you than help themselves.
Yeah.
And they don't see it in the same way. So if you say, could you help me? Could you come back to the conversation? Could you, right? So those are ways of inviting reflection rather than defense. Unless you have a really defensive person.
Yeah.
And then you have that, right? And I have clients that have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can be.
You what?
I can be.
You can be defensive.
Yes.
I know. I met you.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going there?
There's no swords up today with you.
Yeah.
There could be.
Yeah.
Want it? You saw how I came in, right?
Yep.
Came in hot.
That's why there's no swords up.
Oh, that's good. Oh my God, I modeled the behavior I want. The maturity of the behavior. You knew. You were like, oh.
Yep.
So everyone that's listening, I came in hot today.
Yep.
You wouldn't have known it though.
I can read the room.
But I'm decompressing as I do my show. I'm listening to my own words. I'm getting back in my Zen zone.
Processing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one's perfect. That's what I said. What, last week or the week? This is not a perfect thing. And
we're not always regulated. No matter how conscious we are,
right?
We're not always regulated.
Well, and one of the things that I think is so hard for doctors and psychology and psychiatry, doctors, people in this field in general that are licensed and credible and all these things. I say that on purpose for a reason. There is no perfect, and we are always practicing, and we're often always seen as like this entity that has to be like without fault. Yeah. And that doesn't work. Yes, I do get mad. Yes, I do yell. Yes, I do swear. Yes, I do have moments. I'm not always happy. Like, yes, it's not always.
But your professional alter ego, though.
What?
Your clients see your professional alter ego.
So right. Exactly. But I'm also human to say, like in life, I don't sit in like my house or with my friends or with my social life or other things as a therapist. Right. Like, it's just like, I let things, like when I walk out of my office, I shift. Just like when you leave your jobs, you shift, right? A switch turns on to home person or social person or whatever. So it's important that people know that everybody's human. I'm human. And so, like I just said, like no swords up today because Lou's reading the room, because I have my own thing. Everybody has their own thing. And I think that makes me better at my job for me, because I'm able to give myself the permission in my own head to know that, I see, like not in I don't do that with my clients, but like in my own head, I know like, oh yeah, I get that. I've seen that because, because I understand it, because I do.
Yep.
Right. There's no perfect. So it's important.
Called giving yourself a break too.
It's what?
It's called giving yourself a break too.
Yeah. Because you can't, I practice what I preach.
It's not how you feel. It's what you do with it.
Right. And I practice what I preach. So I think that that's important. If you're going to put it out there, like you have to be self-reflective enough to be like, okay, that's out there, and not be like, oh, I'm above this. I know better. Nope. I know different. I know how to do different, but I'm not always perfect at it.
Yep.
So
it's not linear.
No, we know that, right? Yep. Not linear. Okay. So the next piece around growing with people is creating shared meaning and not just sharing a space. A lot of people, how you see people that are like been together 20, 30 years and being like, we're just companions, we're just friends, we're just companions, we're just roommates.
Yep.
Right. Or you see people in like long-term jobs. It's like, they don't have really any connection, but it's somehow create a shared meaning with someone rather than just sharing space. So emotional growth will accelerate, and people will come with you when they feel that they're growing towards something together. So are you planning a trip together? Are you planning on buying a little property somewhere and share, a little investment property? Are you planning to get married? Are you planning to have a baby? Things that you're sharing together are going to help you grow together. Are you um, helping each other out in home projects even? Are you in a sales team and you're all there helping each other, or are you being competitive and being like growth will accelerate around you when you have people sharing in the common experience with you to grow with you. So you have to create a purpose and a meaning that you share together to go forward. So when you want it to accelerate and you want people to come with you, you as the person who's modeling should name explicitly like what it is that you're creating for your space. Like you're wanting trust, you're wanting honesty, you're wanting curiosity, you're wanting growth. You want to name the emotional things that are there that you want to share. I want to share trust with you. I want to share caring with you and compassion and kindness. I want to share those things with you. So if you name them, that's important because people aren't used to having you say that. Yep. And that changes the dynamic of the relationship in the actual meaningfulness of it.
It just brings me back to a key point. It's like a meme that I saw that I always reflect to at this type of point, which is some people have never played team sports and it shows.
Right. And that's why team sports are so good for growth.
Being part of a team.
Right.
And that shared experience, those shared goals is so important.
Right. Exactly.
Some people don't have that at all.
Exactly. And that's why, my next point in this is like, I tell people refer back to X during conflict, because when you name like trust, for instance, right? It's a great time when something happens when you can go back and say, this is one of those moments where trust matters, because now you've created a meaning and the person, we're not talking about like just sharing the space and like what we're sharing the meaning of something that has been going on. So this is one of those moments where curiosity matters. This is one of those moments where good moral like code matters, fidelity matters, like whatever the word has been that your expectation is of the shared meaning.
It just occurred to me sometimes this is not the nature of the family structure that they came from.
Oh, of course.
The family hasn't got each other's backs. The family's at each other's throats all the time.
Well, that's the thing.
So that's how they live. That's their viewpoint.
And if you find yourself that you're in a relationship, friendship with someone or people that you're in conflict with a lot, and you didn't come from that background, it's almost surefire that the other person has brought it to the table because they grew up in conflict. They grew up in like, let's not come to the table and talk. Let's come to the table and fight.
Yeah.
We didn't bring a spoon. We brought a fork and a knife.
And I came from that, but it almost
flipped you the other way.
Begged me to flip the other way.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And that happens to a lot of people, but not everybody.
Yeah.
Some people just come to the table with for a gunfight, so to speak.
That's the water they're in.
Right. Because that's what they know.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't see it. And they're so clouded, they don't see it. So yes. And then of course, for your own self, take some credit for your own self. And when we're sharing meaning, is that celebrating emotional risk taking for yourself, because it's hard for people to jump out to like do this work and not just the outcome. So making sure you kudo yourself for like when you name what you need explicitly, make sure, even if you don't get what you need, take the kudo for yourself so that you aren't just focused on, well, it didn't work. Well, I'm going to say a lot of times it's not going to work in terms of the way you want it for the outcome. If you think about outcome, but it will work if you think the outcome is that you got to take the risk and that you got to say what you needed to say and you got to advocate for yourself. Whether another person jumps in and changes or makes you feel better about something is irrelevant. It's more because people will say to me, why bother saying it then? Because you're doing it because it's better to say it. It doesn't matter what their response is going to be. It matters that you got to say it.
Right.
That's all that matters. And that changes people a lot to say, oh my God, I got to say what I had to say. And I wasn't looking for them to change. If your goal is to get them to change, forget it. If your goal is to say that happened and this is what it makes me feel like, well, there's a win for you.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm looking at the time on the clock, so
Yeah.
we're probably running out of time today, aren't we?
Couple minutes.
Okay, let me get one more in then. Okay, normalizing discomfort as a path for growth.
Mm.
Huh. People are like, I don't like the way that makes me feel, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
No. Sit in your uncomfortableness. Sit in the discomfort of the uncomfortableness, because that is a path to growth. If you can get through those feelings of like people that don't like confrontation, sit with it. You have to be able to do it. You have to just push through. Many people resist growth because they mistake being in discomfort for danger.
Yeah.
They think they're in danger if they're in an uncomfortable situation. So they'll be like, so they avoid it, and then they go back to that old stuff. So if you can say like, this feels really yucky, or this feels awkward because it's new, and not because it's wrong, but because it's new. I don't like this because it's new. That's a win. Or we can go slowly. We can move forward a little bit. Just tell me a little bit. Like if you can slow things down, because when you reframe and normalize the discomfort and reframe it as not threatening, then it's skill building. It's winning. It's stacking a win. It's not crisis building. So most people sit in crisis build, and I'm saying skill build. So normalize your discomfort by being like, of course it feels awful. That's what I'll say to a client. Of course it feels yucky. Of course it feels uncomfortable, because it's new. It's scary. It means danger to you. It's something, we'd rather dance with the devil that we know than the devil we don't. So what do people do? They go back to fighting. They go back to screaming and yelling. They go back to silent treatment. They go back to being passive aggressive. Why do that when you could try something new? Because people will go back to even the unhealthy things because it's what they know.
Yep.
But if you normalize sitting in the uncomfortability of like, okay, this is okay. The other side is unfamiliar, but it might be okay. Like take that risk and do that, because that's part of growth.
That's part of the viewpoint of
yes,
understanding opportunity versus new.
Right.
Discomfort.
Exactly.
Opportunity versus discomfort. Unknown becomes opportunity.
Exactly. And so I know people like that grow up in households where there's not a lot of love and affection, outwardly. And then it feels like, attachment. There's attachment and disconnection. So what happens? They get into a marriage, and that happens in the marriage, and then they get divorced, and then here they are again in another, and it's the same pattern. Yeah. It's like, okay. And that happens a lot. You see that a lot. And so why? A lot of times is the other partner is really strong in this suit, and that other person is like really timid because they haven't been taught to speak up. They haven't been taught to confront in a healthy way. They haven't been able to sit with discomfort of someone being upset with them. So they're a people pleaser. Like there's all these things. So the relationship becomes incredibly wildly imbalanced. And so what do I say to clients that are in couples therapy with me?
I'll say how to treat you.
I say, go ahead. And even if it's uncomfortable and it feels terrible and you're worried about his or her reaction, you still say it. You've got to learn to sit with the uncomfortability of someone being upset with you or not liking what you said or feeling bad. That doesn't mean that they get to attack you or abuse you or vice versa, but it's more about being able to sit with something that you weren't used to and being able to be like, okay, I'm okay. I am okay. So that's just a reframe of like building a skill in how to grow, right? Okay, so I'm going to call it for today, even though I have a couple more points on this that I can go into next week and I'll regroup. But everybody this week, go out and have a great time for the Super Bowl. Please come out and help support my wonderful foundation, the New England Patriots Foundation, and all the money I'm raising for my 12th Boston Marathon running this year. And go Pats. And I'll see you guys next week.